This is Frank, and in this video we're going to teach Frank how to stay. Now Frank has some human and dog reactivity issues, and as a result of that he does a lot of barking. He's been barking most of the session. We're towards the end of the session. Crash. Now I also pick up some insecurity, but I really think that he thinks that he's in charge of his humans. So we spent a lot of time in the session talking about ways where we can flip the leader-follower dynamic, but I also wanted to give the guardians an exercise they can do that will help him develop a little self-control and help them assume more of a leadership position. So in this video, like I said, we're going to go teach you how to stay. And this little interaction he's giving right now is because I moved without him thinking. In his mind, I need to get permission from him in order to do that. Sit. All right, now I'm teaching the stay. I'm going to have a handful of treats in my left hand. I'm a right-handed person. Sit. I'm going to give him a stop sign, stay, and I'm going to count to 3. Stay. And then I'm going to say the word stay. Remember, every time you give a treat, the dog should hear the command word after the treat goes in their mouth. All right, so now I'm going to go to 6. Stay. Stay. So we're just going to basically gradually increase the length. Now, when it comes to the stay, you want to teach the stay for the 3 Ds. First D is duration. You want to practice this until he can stay for up to 5 minutes. You can see that he's breathing heavy. It's not because he's been running around. It's because he's a little bit stressed out. All right, let's see if we can get another one. Stay. Stay. Now, at the end of the stay, I'm going to practice 3, 8, however many times I'm going to practice before when I get done. The last step for the first 2 weeks is to give him a release command word. So we can say either release, break, freedom. I say parole. Any of these resonate with you?
Whatever's easiest to say.
Break?
Yeah.
Break. So at the end, however many times I practice, the last thing I do is I toss the treat a couple feet away, and when he licks it up, I say the word break. Sit. So this way, when you're practicing the stay, he can't move until he hears the command word, his release word. In this case, we're going to say break. You can change something later on if you want. Just don't change it around a lot. Now, what I'm going to do is, this is one where you want to practice in short little intervals throughout the day. Now, normally when I tell people about training, you want to train less than 2 minutes in a training session. For this one, we want to get them up to 5 minutes. Now, at first, it's going to be maybe 3, 6, 9, 12, 16, go up to maybe 30. And then do your break. And then after a while, maybe we'll go by 4s the next time, and then by 5s. And if you go from 5s to 10s, and he gets to 8, and he gets up and moves away, then that was too long for him. Back up a step. So the idea is to keep on practicing this until he will stay in a stay with you right in front of him for 5 minutes, and go very progressively. It's hard for dogs just to sit there. Sometimes they start offering a shake and other things because, why are you not giving me the treats? I can smell you have treats. Now, when I first came in, if I would have done these movements, I'm pretty sure he would have bit me. So I earned a lot of credit with him, and I'm going to talk about in the video below this about one of the things we did to help him feel more comfortable with it. So when you're practicing the stay, first one we want to do is for duration. So this is within about 2 to 3 weeks. You'd like to get to the point where you can say stay and have him stay right here, this proximate to you, for up to 5 minutes. Once you get to the 5-minute mark, now you're ready to start adding the second D in, distance. So what I usually do, and I'm not going to stand up because I'm pretty sure that will provoke a response, and I don't want one. We like this energy. And you can see he's very interested in treats that I have. So what I would be standing at this point, I would give him the stop sign. When I do the stop sign, I put it halfway of a distance between me and the dog, and then I turn it and put it back on my chest. And that's when I start counting. Crash, passive training. I could just pet it there, but I feel a little bit more comfortable with him giving him a treat. All right, so when I go for distance, I'm going to say stay. Now, this is how I start off, but every dog is unique, so you'll customize it to your dog. But I would say stay while I'm standing, then put my hand on my chest, and I would take 2 steps backwards, and I would count to 4. Then I would come back, give him the treat, and say stay. Then I would back up this time maybe 5 paces, and this time I count to 20. Well, I basically double the length of whatever, so 10, excuse me. So if I back up 2 steps, I count to 4. Back up 5 steps, count to 10. Just double it. But again, each dog's going to be unique. You want to get to the point where you can have him stay, and you can be about 20 feet away. Now, right over here, we don't have to show it, but there's a little wall, and I can go this way. So if I'm backing away from him, as soon as I get to parallel with the wall, I'm going to take 1 step this way. Now, the wall is going to be blocking his sight of me. So that's going to cause him to want to come find us. So we only want to do this for 1 second. So we get out of sight, wait 1 second, come back, and then walk up to him, give him the treat, and say stay. Next time we walk back the same distance, this time we go out of sight for 2 seconds, for 4 seconds. Or, doesn't have to double it. But the idea is helping him do this in a very progressive way. This helps him see the human as providing a positive reinforcer. The human is setting the course of what's going on so that he has to develop a little bit more respect for the human. It also develops self-control for him. Dogs are all very reactive creatures, but I mean, he hears a sound and he's over there, he sees a movement and he's up in the person's face. And so teaching him an exercise that requires him to stay stationary and to develop self-control will help him control himself in other areas as well. Now, once you get to the point where you can be back away for 5 minutes for distance, then we want to do it for distraction. So then I might put him back in a stay, and I might back up and have the remote control over there, and I might turn on the dog whisperer and let a dog play. Now, for a lot of dogs, if he starts barking and lunging at the TV and freaking out, then stop it. And next time we do it, maybe we turn the volume down to volume 2. So he can hear that there's a dog, but it's so quiet, it's not a threat. And because it's a recording rather than a real dog, he doesn't perceive it to be a real threat. And then next time we do it, we practice maybe at level 5, keep on gradually ramping up until it sounds like eventually like you have a dog in here that's barking and really angry, and he's able to ignore it. Now, once we have the stay in place, we want to start utilizing it. It's not just to develop the stay to have a stay, but also practice it. So one of the guardians, if he gets up to go to the bathroom, the dog pretty much gets up and follows him. Now, I didn't in this case because there's an infidel here, in this case me, an outsider. So he stayed right next to me because he thinks he's in charge. But when you guys are by yourself, if you got to go use the bathroom, you tell him to stay, go get a drink of water, come back, and then give him the release. Always give him his release word, break, freedom, whatever it is. In this case, we start out with break, but you can change it. And then eventually, each time we do things that take a little bit longer and a little bit longer, he's asked to stay. So now there's no leash, there's no secure, there's no kennel, there's no door. It's I'm doing the work myself. And I could run away, but I'm doing a job right now. Dogs can't really multitask, so that's another reason why this is helpful. So if we can teach him how to stay, combined with all the other stuff that we went over off camera, it's really going to help him develop a little bit more respect for especially the guardians who's filming this, who he has nipped at, because she's providing him with, or she's teaching him the skill set, as well as I've got to stay for her until she gives me the release word. This combined with a lot of the other things I think are going to help reduce his reactivity issues to the point where he feels like he can go off duty, he's no longer responsible for humans. But for now, just practice this. Try to practice this 2 or 3 times a day with each guardian and do it in different parts of your house. If you only do it right here, he'll be able to stay like a statue right here. But you try to do it over there and he won't be able to do it. So we want to get him comfortable doing it at first everywhere in the house, then start doing it in your backyard. But when you do it in your backyard, don't do it when your neighbor has a dog out or there's construction or things going by. Make it as easy as possible at first and then gradually start elongating that. But having a dog that you can put in a stay and that has a strong stay really is a great way to develop self-control for the dog. So this is Frank, and this is a technique of how you can teach your dog to stay. First for duration, then for distance, and then eventually for distraction.